Today's lesson is going to be a still life using a viewfinder. So still life is just something that sits still on a table or a surface, and that the artist then looks at, observes, analyzes, and really notices all of the shapes and the lines and the shadows and all of those things, and then attempts to draw all or a part of it. It can be literally anything. A lot of still lifes are fruit and vegetables, but they can really be anything. The other tool we're going to use is a viewfinder. You get this special little one. Everybody else in class has a bigger version, but you and I get these little ones I just made, and they're just like an inch, 1 inch by 1 inch, and they are going to help you focus in on very specific parts of whatever it is you're looking at. So one of the things, some of the vocabulary that you can learn around this is positive and negative space. So when we think of positive space in art or in a photograph, the positive space is wherever the action is happening, wherever the subject has been put down in the photograph or the piece of artwork. And the negative space would be everything around that, the space in which the subject is sitting. So in this, there's a lot of negative space, but it doesn't mean nothing's happening. So when we talk about still life, we want to be thinking about positive and negative space. And the positive space is not just what we want to be looking at. We want to look at the space in between things, the space around the subject. So for instance, these thumbnails, this is what this is called, is a thumbnail sketch. These thumbnails are, we're not necessarily centering the object in the center of the drawing to necessarily even get, it doesn't even have to look like the thing. So for instance, this one is the top of, I don't know if you can, I don't know if I can do it. There we go. Kind of like this angle a little bit. Oh boy, this is weird doing it with this. Let me see if I can get closer to the, kind of like that a little bit. And it was literally just sitting in front of me, and I kind of held my viewfinder up. I closed one eye, so that's really important. And I kind of just moved my viewfinder around until I found a composition that was appealing to me. And the composition was a little off center. I really liked that a little bit, little off center, where the object was going off the page, and then there was some negative space here. And the great thing about that is, the great thing about a viewfinder is that it's like this reference point for wherever that object is touching. It's very clear, like, oh, that's kind of a triangle up in that corner, or there's a curved line here, but it really goes straight down and it's like a rectangle here. And then almost kind of like a brush shape, or I don't know, a knife, a cleaver, like that's a shape of a cleaver right there. So the things you can see in negative space can really help you draw your object. So instead of staring at your object and wondering, how do I draw this object? That's what the viewfinder can do. So again, this was just a very simple, small object, and I kind of moved it around, and I found where I liked it, and I tried to draw it. And some are more successful than others. This one is, excuse my reach, this one is my scissors, and I just kind of move this around until I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting to me. And you can move it, let me see if I can show you, out and in, depending on what you like. So that's how I want you to use this. I want you to do 6. I know it can feel like a lot. Try to do between 4 and 6. How about that? You do, and start with 4 and see if you want to keep going on to 6. So utilize your viewfinder. Don't know if there's anything else. Okay, supplies for lesson 4. You'll need your sketchbook. You will need an HB or a B pencil, blender, eraser, and your handy viewfinder that I will have given you. You will need to start out with 4 squares, blank, and 4 items that they can be anything. So maybe pick some things that you like, maybe something from your room. It really doesn't matter, but four items, sometimes even the most boring, make very interesting compositions.